So I'm looking for like a Josiah, Eminon or something like that. Not hey, Teddy Roxbury.
Oh man.
Well, we don't have enough characters. What will fit? I don't know.
Hey, Teddy, you got an idea?
Teddy.
Dude. I don't mind it. I'll use it.
Guys, welcome to Spin Dash, where we will advertise your obscure business for free or barter. We might even let you pick a game for us to play, or you can make Nick drink some foul cocktail. Anything to get our foot in the door, and 1% of your online sales, no pressure. It's all good.
Get those gains.
I like your e-begging. It's very good.
Yep. So this week I sent a message out to try to get a sponsor because I feel like that might be the next step we want to take in our progress of this podcast. We seem to be making headway slowly, so I wanted to get that in there because I feel like every podcast you listen to has some sort of advertising, and they probably get a little bit of money, which would fund some merchandise for us or some other random things that we would put back into the podcast.
Good idea, sir.
So John. So who did you approach, John?
I'd seen this joke online a while ago about Jones Barbecue and Foot Massage. And for those listeners or listener that hasn't heard of this yet, I suggest you go to YouTube and you will laugh your ass off. First, I thought it was a real place, and then I Googled it to see if they existed. And they don't, but apparently it's on Facebook, so I wanted to just reach out and see what I got for a response.
And do we have a sponsor?
No, they didn't respond, sadly.
Well, I mean, you approached a made up company that's basically a meme for sponsorship. Yes.
That's the best sponsor, right?
Yeah.
Best sponsor.
All right, fellas, let's get into it.
Yeah.
What are you drinking tonight?
I'll start. I have a vodka black cherry club soda.
All right, frat girl. Matt, what about you?
Well, I'm not doing much better. I'm going to crack it right now. I have, and I heard this on a podcast the other day, and I love it, and I'm going to steal it. But I have a wild berry Truly.
Ooh.
all these. Yeah, but here's the thing. Right, on this podcast, they were talking about all these like seltzers that everyone's drinking, and someone called it Millennial Zima, and I laughed my ass off. Like, that's so fucking funny.
We didn't even really get to enjoy that stuff. It like phased out before we were of legal age.
I remember the commercials.
Yeah. Those
like
were stellar.
Do you remember?
Everyone like went to a bar and it was like really hot. And they sat down, had a Zima, and it was like a whole place iced over.
It was, man.
Well, the big thing when we started drinking was Smirnoff, and then people made a game out of ice. Getting iced.
Yeah, because Justin used to drink those.
He did.
That was his drink of choice.
Those became like the wine coolers, I think.
Yeah.
Nah. I don't ever think he had wine coolers.
No.
Those were something like my parents kind of drank. Like, if they didn't want to do hard stuff or like beer, they did wine coolers, which even like 8 years old, I was judging them. It's like fucking.
Speaking of wine coolers, I'm drinking actual wine.
Bullshit, it's from a box.
Again.
Yeah. No, it's not from a box. There's a shop down below where my office is. And I like to stop in there when I go up, which is few and far between these days since we're all working from home until summer of next year. So I grab a bottle when I go to pick up mail or whatnot. So it's pretty tasty,
So you have wine. I have a Truly. Nick's got some kind of like vodka drink. Like, we've all just cashed in our man cards tonight.
Yeah.
We're done.
It's not a good look, fellas.
I've got a whole bottle of scotch that I was debating bringing, and I'm glad I didn't, because this is just so much more ridiculous.
It is.
Like this game. We'll get into that now.
Oh. Yeah, we'll get there, Nick.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
So what are we currently playing? What are some recent pickups for you guys?
I don't want to say mine.
Do it.
No.
Do it, Nick.
No. You guys gonna make fun of me again.
The entire Pokemon collection. Here we go.
Fuck. You're not wrong.
Oh, boy.
Well, let's see. Did I tell you last time I got Animal Crossing because I want to see what the whole thing was about? And it's actually entertaining. It just
400 hours later, it's consumed your life.
So I'm not deep diving. Like I'll play like an hour or two here or there every week or so. So I'm not really going far into it like that. So it's I can't do that with that much monotony at this point. I've been actually playing a lot of retro games. When I'm off time besides the game we're playing, I actually beat Mario, original Mario, and what else did I beat? Went through Super Mario Brothers 3 as well, just because it is the 50th anniversary.
Oh, right on.
50th?
35th anniversary.
Yeah.
It's like, holy fuck, Nick.
So, yeah, I went through that. Well, Sega just had their 60th. Is that what they're going through? Their 60th anniversary of becoming a company?
Yeah.
I mean, Nintendo's like 100 years old because they used to make playing cards, right?
Yeah, they're older than dirt.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what I'm playing. I did, because I saw it dirt cheap, I did actually get the latest Pokemon game just to see what it's like. And it's okay. But
I can tell you what it's like. Every other Pokemon game.
Nope, it's not, John. It's not, but you're a bastard, so I don't care.
Nick, how is it different than every other game?
Just different aspects. I mean, if you really want to go down to that nitty-gritty road, then how are the games that we play any real difference from the other ones that we played? I mean, they don't really differ.
Well, I mean, they all
have similarities in their end.
They all have rules. They all involve like screens and buttons and rules. So I guess they're all the same.
No. Well, our latest one here is a mix of SimCity and any side scroller. Nothing changed.
Yeah. But hold on. Tell us, like, if there's a lay person out there and they have their copy of Pokemon, we'll even go back to like on the DS, a Pokemon game on the DS. We won't. Can you
actually say? Do you even know what Pokemon game came on a DS?
Platinum, maybe. I think I have Black and White and Black 2 and White 2. I have one of them. It's the same as all the ones before it.
I can't wait till they use Crayola colors like burnt sienna.
Well, no. Now they're on other things. They're on to like Sword and Shield.
So I got Sword. Man. So they made it. The game is made more battling. It's more battle centric. Versus, I mean, yes, you can catch it, and you want to, raise whatever and catch them all. But it's not as the first one. I think the very first one, Pokemon Red, Blue, and Green, were centric of just catching them all. It wasn't really, and the battle system was kind of secondary. In the latest one, the battle system's not secondary. It's at the forefront. It's the main reason I actually pretty much play the game. So, and there's more, there's also, I think as the game's developed more, there's actually more story behind the premise of it. First one, there was no story at all. Hey, you're going to go in the world and you're going to catch these. That's pretty much it.
You have to defeat your rival, man. It's all about the hero's quest.
It's not even really a hero's quest this time around. Like, you do have a rival, but it's not like at the forefront of this game.
Well, that was the story in the original game. It did have a story.
Again, that was original, but
so hold on.
Let's not go. We have other stuff to talk about.
No. I want to say my one thing, and then I will shut up. This reminds me of like when I go to Home Depot with Nikki, and we're like trying to pick up paint colors, and I'm like, "Oh, that's white," and she's like, "No, that's off-white plus cream." Like, no, it's fucking white. Like,
there's a difference. You can't bring in colors into this. Yeah, I said it.
Pokemon Taupe. It's just taupe.
I may be a couple drinks in already, by the way. it's not.
That's
it's not been a great week. So
if it's not drunk, Nick, I don't want it.
Right.
This is retro gaming plus alcoholism.
mm-hmm.
Matt, what have you been playing, man?
Oh, well, so pickups, right?
Pickups.
I'm still going dirt cheap because I got to pay off my GC loader. I get reminded about that like daily in this house. But I did go and I bought a copy of Free McBoot. And basically all that is just a glorified hacked memory card for your PlayStation 2. And it'll let you run game files. You can do a bunch of stuff with it, but it'll let you run game files off either the hard drive for PlayStation or off a USB stick on certain models. I think it's like if you look at the PlayStation models, it'll work on all fatties, and then the one of the slims that doesn't have the half shiny top. So I've been testing that out. I've been on a kick where I'm kind of shying away from disc-based games. I've kind of gotten burned too many times, and I'm trying to find solutions to having to use a disc where things just seem to be going wrong there. But I've been playing a game called Odin Sphere for PlayStation 2. Really cool game. It's made by the same people that made Muramasa, the Demon Blade on Wii. I think I was telling you guys about that. Like, really cool hand-drawn 2D kind of, I don't know, 2D brawler, but kind of 2D beat 'em up kind of game.
Okay.
Really cool. So I've been liking it so far, but beyond that, I've been playing a little bit of that and playing a little bit of this, but not a whole lot.
Yeah. Same here.
You?
No pickups. I mean, we bought this. I bought this game for this episode. I know it's a good game to have. It's one of the original games that came out with the SNES. I think around that time, definitely popular. So picked it up on eBay. First cartridge I've played on the SNES in quite some time, and I liked it. I love that controller. Love the feel of it. As far as other games I've been playing, it's just Smash Brothers, Mario Kart, whatever's on the NES, SNES library on the Switch, just dabbling around a little bit. Not anything too in-depth.
If you remember, what did you pay for it? I bought this game for myself. Oh God, beginning of this year, beginning of this year, and I maybe paid like $25 for it. What's it going for now?
$30 with shipping.
30,
yeah, with the shipping. Right. So that not too far off. It didn't skyrocket like some this year, I guess.
Yeah.
It's almost like playing the stock market, guys. Some of these games.
When in doubt, buy games published by Atlas and just hold on to them.
Yeah. So the game this week is ActRaiser, if we didn't say that already. My history with the game, there isn't much. I remember, and I'm going to dust off some nostalgia cobwebs here. This game was on the Nick Arcade show. If any of you remember watching that, where kids had to play in the arcade. Do you remember that?
I do.
Yeah. I love that show. And I remember, they had Melissa Joan Hart on there, and they had her play Sonic, and she fucking sucked at it. And as a kid, I just was, raging out in the background, going, oh my God, what are you doing?
Dude.
So, yeah.
These poor kids, man, they probably had, anxiety, and, they're on television, and they're just butchering these games in front of an audience, and then all of their friends and family that are like, hey, you made it on TV. Oh, you suck at video games. There's one kid that played ActRaiser that I watched on YouTube. I found a clip of, he just went and couldn't jump, and he lost. That was brutal, man. And they're counting down, and he's just sitting there with the controller, blank face, not good. Not very good.
Can you imagine if that kid like became like a wonderkin for like some game company? And, you know, I think we need to incorporate this into our design guys. Like, we need to add this in. Shut up there, Poindexter. Like, you're the one that couldn't jump on ActRaiser back in 91.
Yeah. It haunts you forever because it lives in the internet forever. Speaking of which, one of my wife's friend's husbands, you two will know who I'm talking about, was on, he tells us Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Great show. Great show.
And he messed up the monkey puzzle.
Oh, he was one of those kids.
So we need to find that. I've been meaning to like see if I can find episodes to see if he's lying or not. Because, you know, he does stretch the truth from time to time. But I really want to see if this is true. Because then that would be that kid that you know that was on Game Show. Because I don't know anybody else that ever made it on that. Because we're from, you know, the boonies in Maine.
I know one person that was on a game show. My boss showed me, I don't know if he wants me saying this. He ended up on The Price is Right back in the 80s. Whoa. And he showed us when we were having like a bad day at work one day, and it was funny as fuck to watch. Like it just, you know, if you're having a bad day, that is definitely a way to bring the whole office up, is bringing your prices right.
You know, yeah.
Bob was kind of a dick to him, too.
Oh, no.
You being a dick? No.
The price is wrong.
Price is wrong, Bobby.
Bob.
So, another thing that kind of was historical with this game was in our music challenge saga that we did a couple months ago, we all agreed that this was a banger. Like, Fillmore from ActRaiser was an epic song, right?
Oh, we agreed and we fought.
Yeah.
I think that was the beginning. I don't think we ever got through a music challenge because we fought so hard in the first week or so that we just petered off.
Yeah. We didn't wrap up. We were still missing 10 days of that month, but this was a good track. And I was like, you know, and I looked at the game because I was like, I got to do some more games I haven't played. And this was one of them, and so that solidified this pick for me. Was hearing that song, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this is awesome."
Yeah, the person who did, I don't know if you saw this when you were researching, the person who did the soundtrack, in one of those cases that can't be my own handwriting, as Yuzo Koshiro.
Koshiro, yeah,
they Streets of Rage soundtrack.
Streets of Rage. He did Sonic. Like he's got some top games in there.
I couldn't find this. I heard this somewhere, and it's haunted me because I can't find proof of it. So, if any of the listeners out there, tweet me, tweet our show, because if you have this, I would love to have where I found this. But I thought I heard somewhere that because the Super Nintendo is like a sample-based console, and they were working, I think, on Final Fantasy 2, 4 if you're an elitist, for the Super Nintendo. They were working on the music, and ActRaiser came out, and it blew their minds. And it basically sent them back to the drawing board, and they had to go and re-record all their samples to make the music for Final Fantasy 4. Because this was back when Square had a whole battle with Enix going on.
Yeah.
I don't know where I found that fact, and I might have just imagined it like half the things that go on the show. But yeah, if anyone has that, get in touch with us.
There's a lot of stories that intertwine between development companies, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
So this game was made by Quintet, which was made. They formed in '89, right before the SNES boom, and a couple guys, branched off from a bigger company, and they were responsible for the YS. I don't know how to actually say that. I know it's a big franchise.
Oh, Ys.
Ys? Okay.
Ys. They had involvement with Ys?
Yeah, yep. So, yeah.
I was going to make you play that.
That action RPG is in their blood, and they were like, let's branch off and let's make a action simulation game. And they roped in their good buddy Koshiro, who also worked there, and had him knock out some tracks for this game. And this game had some great music, man. I thought it was awesome. And they made the game in 1990, and it was one of the first games available around the SNES launch.
Yeah, and John, I've been filling your head full of shit. It was not a launch title, but it was close to it.
Yep.
Because I looked this up before. So the launch titles for the Super in North America: Mario World, F-Zero, Pilot Wings, SimCity, and Gradius 3.
Okay.
And so this one wasn't launched, but it was damn close. So I apologize. I was wrong.
No worries.
Man.
You can take that take that audio clip and just play it over and over.
I want that soundbite.
I'm humble. I've heard you admit you're wrong more times than I can recount.
All right.
Yeah, I'll let it slide.
Don't let Nikki know that.
No. She made you bald, so you paid your price.
Yep, I did.
Poor Matt.
So this was a pretty unique game for the time because, there were the action RPGs where you kind of had the fighting real time and, the life counter and all that jazz. But this kind of cleaved the game into two distinct styles where you had the platformer and you had the simulation. And each level required a bit of both. So there wasn't ever any long periods of time of one or the other. You had to bounce back and forth constantly.
And to be honest, I don't know of any games that do it like this, that have this weird mix of simulation and platformer.
Yeah.
I think they recently made one for Xbox called Soul Seraph. I don't know anything about it. I haven't played it, but I honestly can't find any game out there, at least when I was searching around, where they mix platformer and like a god sim. Very, very weird mix. And
it was good. I mean, it was definitely a good attempt on their part to do it. I mean, are we just jumping on in?
What's that?
Are we jumping right on in to feelings on it?
So, yeah, sure. If you want.
I like the platform. The platform was pretty solid. The controls were, be honest, the controls weren't the greatest, but I was also playing a ROM, and it was having some troubles with that, as you guys well aware. So it was a little clunky of the jump and the buttons, like the timing. Like I had to reconfigure my timing, just like, I pressed it. Oh, there's like a second delay on the jump and tack. So after figuring that out, it flowed pretty well. The sim, I felt just like it was too simplistic, so it felt more tedious. Like I just want to get through it. I just want to get this over and fucking done with, so I can get through the act. I just want to get to the act. I just want to get to the platforming. So I felt if they had more features built into the sim, it probably would have been a little bit better. And the other thing is, the fucking prayers were so annoying. Jesus, Joseph, and Mary. And I meant what I just said as well. The prayers were just so annoying. Just constantly, you're in the middle of doing something, and, oh, sorry, Lord. Humans have something to say to you. Okay.
So you've given us, in that rant, you've given us a ton to unpack.
Let's unpack it.
So you need to be in Bruce Almighty 3, is what you're saying.
No.
Because everybody, they're all annoying you.
God.
I was going to make a joke about that,
right?
Actually.
I destroy the world. I just like, fuck it. You guys don't deserve this. Peace.
John, regale us in the story, because maybe that will help explain some of Nick's problems.
Yeah, we'll preface it with Nick's rant.
Praying him.
Right? So this is a classic theme. It's good versus evil, God versus the devil. Except Nintendo had some censorship issues with this. So instead of God, you are Tanzra.
No.
No?
Master.
No, you're the master.
Oh, that's right. Tanzra was Satan. My bad.
Drunkard.
I can't read my own writing either, and it's on a computer. So Tanzra is your enemy, and you are the master, and you have your little cherub, angel, Cupid, Alpha 5 helper. I kind of got the vibe of like the Power Rangers from this, but backwards. And also Captain Planet was mixed in there too. You fight the 5 or 6 minions, right? Of the devil.
6, yeah.
But it's backwards. So you're against all of them, whereas in like Captain Planet, he has the 5 teenagers. Power Rangers, they have the 5 Rangers and the bad guy and Zordon or Captain Planet, right? So like, are we actually the bad guys here?
That has to be the biggest stretch I've ever heard in storytelling.
Wow.
I just wanted to go on a tangent for a minute because I got a little distracted when I was writing.
What were you on?
I just like making sidebar tangents like that sometimes.
How many gummies did you have on that one?
You know, we can't count.
Oh my God.
So they had to change God to the Master because Nintendo had, what was it, a prohibited inclusion of anything religious, right?
Nintendo back then was really restrictive on what they would allow. And they were really tough during the NES days, and I think they were really tough during the Super Nintendo days. They kind of lightened up a little bit after Mortal Kombat 2 came out, but they still kept that religious thing. And tons of examples of games where any religious symbols, they would scratch it or they would change whatever the context was, as to not offend us Puritan Americans.
They're so easily offended.
You know, they were a little bit ahead of their time over there.
They just didn't give a fuck over there. Yeah.
Yeah, they've done some weird shit.
Yeah, so the story on this was kind of cool though, in that it is that classic God versus the devil, but basically God wake up and I think you've been either tired or you've been resting after battling these demons.
Yeah, so there was the eternal struggle for many years, and Tanzra summoned his minions, his 6 minions, to fight you. So they kind of overwhelmed you, and you got your ass kicked, and you had to go sleep in your sky palace for a couple hundred years while Satan and his minions ravaged the world, pretty much.
Yeah, and you wake up and you basically have to restart civilization. That's kind of your whole thing in this game, right? Vanquish evil and rebuild the world.
Yeah. Cupid wakes you up and he goes, "Hey, guy, you got to go do some stuff so people, believe in you again."
What's cool is that you are God in this game, but you play as you're using 2 different methods of playing the game. You either control the angel in the sim mode, or in the platforming mode, you take control of a statue. And the statue comes to life, and that's how you fight the monsters. You're not like God just coming down I'm gonna kick everything's ass.
Right.
There's more to it than that.
Yeah, he has to be in a body. The original, the first level was easy. It's a nice intro. Fillmore. You jump in, and it's a pretty decent platformer level. First mini boss, not too difficult. I feel like it was just a little bit off from what I was used to for jumping and stuff.
It was stiff. I got a lot of, I don't know if you guys felt this, but did you get some Castlevania vibes from the controls?
Yeah.
Very much so.
it just wasn't very. I mean, I got used to it, but it definitely was something like, oh, I got to readjust how I think when I'm jumping on this.
Well,
I am not as nimble as I
jump high, but you can jump apparently really far. So instead of like, oh, I should be able to just jump up and jump up and jump up to hit this next platform. No, you had to jump. What I could only say is like probably extra would be probably 10 to 15 feet across, which you would make it, and you had to keep on going back and forth to do the jump. And that got kind of annoying. Just because it was also if you didn't pretty much jump at the right time, leaving the other pad, you'd fall down.
In Blood Pool, I definitely fell a bunch because I would hit sideways and jump and not make it. So you gotta time it better. And it was a little forgiving on some of those ones where it didn't look like you could make it, but it counted it because, your toe landed on it, so you were good.
I found that it felt like there was a delay when you went to swing your sword. And I don't know if that's because they're trying to give the feel of, you're swinging a big ass sword. It takes time for it to move where it needs to go. But I would constantly get wrecked when I would jump and use the sword at the same time because the timing was kind of weird. I don't know if you guys felt that too, but I would hit the button to swing the sword and it would be delayed quite a bit, and then like whatever enemy I thought I was going to hit smokes me, and I'd knock back and I'd die.
Yeah, the timing for hitting, and these guys moved a lot too. That was challenging in the later levels.
Well, the enemy was like if you backed out enough out of the screen, and you go back in, the enemy's there again. So it's constant respawn.
Yeah,
it wasn't like
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it wasn't like you clear the space. It's like, oh, you went out a couple frames, and went back in. The enemy's there again. So you're like, oh, crap. Let me redo everything I just did. Like
I was surprised how well it looked, though. For being a launch game?
You could tell it was near a launch game, though. Definitely you could tell it was near a launch game.
Yeah.
I mean, it still looked good. It still looked good, but you could tell like it was definitely the start of when those games came out versus what we played like Donkey Kong or something at the tail end.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh yeah, for sure. The platforming, I have Super Turrican, and the feel of it reminded me of that a little bit.
I think you're onto something there because I kind of got a similar. The level design.
Yep.
It's not like go right to left or left to right. There's this like vertical exploration kind of levels kind of loop around. There's kind of this weird up and down feel. It reminded me of a lot of British games. So when you said Turrican, I'm like, yes, that's the exact feel I get out of this.
Yeah.
It's not like Mario left and right, Mega Man left and right. I mean, you're going up something, down something. I don't know.
Yeah, the castles, man. The later castles.
They felt big.
They did. The last one was huge. So you have your initial is the platformer, and then you jump right into your sim mode where you have two people apparently, and you gotta fry some bushes for them so they can build their civilization, and all the while they're getting abducted by dragon bats. Like these fuckers were relentless. Did you guys ever go over to like the layer where these things spawn from and click on it and be like, there are like 470 more bats in here, and you'd be like, oh shit.
Yeah, you will. I wonder if anyone's ever said. I mean, someone must have, but sat there for a long ass time and just said, I'm going to drain this thing.
Depleted
like all 400 bats.
Well,
those bats were very frisky.
And how do you guys play the sim mode? Do you like, oh, I'm really going to start a simulation like you like had it blocked out? I mean, John, being the engineer you probably did something similar where you just have like all blocked out into a nice central area around the main temple, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, you were pretty limited because, the denser forest, you couldn't eliminate the rock. So you had a set amount of squares you could build in, and that was it. Like there wasn't a whole lot of room for maneuvering and adjustments, I guess.
You probably made still a fairly uniformed town or village or whatever, I'm sure.
I mean, my focus was to get to the monster layers as fast as I could.
So
and then
that was mine.
Yeah, I literally, as soon as I could highlight it, I would like bring the angel dude over there and like, you're building in this direction. I'm like, yes, you are. And by time, usually it was mostly, I think I had like maybe at one point, like 4 actually huts built, and everything else was mostly road at that one time. Then I slowly caught up and started building everything around it and adding the fields to it. But mostly it was just roads because I wanted to get to have them close up all the monsters' den.
I mean, it was pretty straightforward, right? Like they would do things on their own. Like if you left it, they could build a field. Like you didn't have control over that, did you?
No, you didn't. I wish you kind of did.
Not of what they built.
Like I said, I wish in the sim like they went a little more in depth, or they made it a little bit more. Like, it's too simplistic, so it really just felt like a waste of time. Like, in between building phases, you're just trying to nail down, keep all the monsters away from the villages, be it the bats, the ice dragon that looks like the friggin' dragon from, I can't think of the show right off the top of my head now. Game of Thrones at the end.
Oh, the ice dragon?
Yeah, I'm like, geez, I want, like, Ice Dragon from Game of Thrones. That, or if being more geeky, I was like, oh, it's Blue Eyes White Dragon from Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh.
Yeah, that went over you guys' head.
Yeah, you got me on that one. That one's
maybe that one listener might play Yu-Gi-Oh! As well out there.
They might. It's pretty popular. What did you guys think of the sim mode, Nick? I hear you on like it was a little bit redundant where the angel would say, "Oh, geez, they have something to say." Like, no shit, Sherlock. That happens every time. Like, don't be surprised anymore.
I think you almost time it as like almost like a 3-minute interval. Like, hey, they have something to say. Oh, my son, he ran away. Find him, please. Bring him this bread. Then I didn't realize for a while how oh, okay. I found him. Like, okay. I kept on pressing buttons. Like, fuck. What do I do? What do I do to get this kid his bread? I didn't realize
he's gonna die.
You had to go back into the accept offerings. I'm like, you mean I have to just hear them, then go back in for me to get the offering and listen to them again? Like, oh, we have this. Oh, we have this. I'm like, why didn't you give it to me the first time we talked?
I don't know if this game is like a bold statement on on the concept of God, but if I was God, I would be so thoroughly annoyed.
Right?
Because it's just like I have monsters to fight. I have 6 demon generals that have taken over my land, and you're praying to me about your fucking son Teddy, and you're trying to get me to give him bread. Are you serious? You're his parents. You go do something. I
wonder if that's his actual name. Like the translation.
Teddy.
How was that? Was it just like Teddy?
It's the most American name ever.
I'm assuming this is like way back there. So I'm looking for like a Josiah, Amenon or something like that. Not hey, Teddy Roxbury.
Oh man.
Well, we don't have enough characters. What will fit? I don't know.
Teddy, you got an idea?
Teddy, dude.
How about my name? I will use it.
So they didn't go too crazy with this game, right? Because they just kept talking to you. There were no sacrifices. They didn't have any wars
that we knew of.
They did. You didn't control them, but there was one town that people were fighting with each other. You needed to give them music to calm their evil, wicked souls.
Well, they didn't wage war on your behalf. There was no sacrifices to God. Like, they didn't have an altar of sacrifice for animals or people. And they didn't go wage war.
You're getting offerings. Where those offerings came from?
They offered you, like, bread and shit, right? And crops. There's no, here's a body, right? Here's wheat. That's what they gave you. There's no, here's a carcass. Come on.
You're going very Old Testament on this.
That's
game.
what it is.
You're expecting, like, you want to send down pestilence and shit. Like, you really.
When we gave them, when they quote unquote made music, they're having orgies down there. We all know it.
This leads me to believe that this is early Canada because they're so nice. This is going to segue into getting Paul onto our podcast, our friendly Canadian. I'm going to shit on Canada right now, and hopefully he hears this and then comes to its defense.
Well, he's not even pure Canadian.
He's lived there for more than half of his life. He's Canadian now.
Is that the acceptable range?
Yes.
Paul's kind of like, do you guys watch Parks and Rec?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know when Adam Scott's character, whatever his name is, keeps getting like hired by that accounting firm and then just keeps quitting? That's Paul with this podcast. Paul's like, I'm ready. And they're just like, nah. We're all just like bummed, like, oh, no, Paul.
Dude, that is perfect. I love it. Oh man!
The day Paul comes onto our podcast will be the last day we will probably record. Last time we record.
It's good that we have like a continent to separate us, because Paul and I would argue so bad when we were kids that we would just punch each other. Or like, throw something. I don't know, man. We got in a lot of fights after we had heated discussions. Because he's definitely a better arguer than I am. So I would just throw something at him and then we'd punch each other.
See, I like that. That's the American way. If you can't win it, get violent. Oh my god.
Yeah. So I liked it. After you cleared out all of the monsters' dens, you got to jump on the boss fight, right? Yeah. So there was another side scroller level. Each one kind of increased in difficulty. And then the boss fight, we could talk in depth, but I'd like to just, gloss over that, pick our favorites here and there. And this first boss fight in Fillmore was a bitch. You didn't have that much life. You just slugged it out with this guy, right?
Which one? Because so you're talking
the
Centaur when you started out, or are you talking the Minotaur who's the general?
The Minotaur, man. The Centaur was easy. You didn't even get hit by him.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. I found that bosses in this game kind of fell into one of two categories. It was like I either needed to be extremely careful and then like take cheap shots when they were doing something, or it was just like a duke it out, like I hit them, they hit me, and we'll see who makes it at the tail end of it.
Same.
And I think that's how I fought the Minotaur, is I just kept hitting him and hope I didn't die.
Yeah, dude, you slugged it out and just hope that you could level up based on the population, right? Like the more houses you built in each area, or the more road that you built so they could build houses, the more population would increase and your level would go up. And each time you gained a level, you gained a health bar.
So maybe it would paid off. That's where I think it would have paid off if they added a little more like meat to the sim. Is you'd be more apt to play the sim a little bit longer, build up the village, get it maxed out as high as you can, then go into these boss battles, and you're fully loaded.
Yeah, and that's what I did. I tried to build my cities up as much as I could. Like I jumped around. If I could. The game kind of limits you. It won't let you go to like some of the other towns until you've done something.
Right.
Or it won't let you progress too far into them.
Yeah, because they're all like petrified with fear, or it's too cold. So some of them
need a bridge.
Yep.
But I would try to jump around like in the middle levels. I think I went out of order too, because I was trying to get levels. Fun fact, John. God clearly hates civil engineers in this game. Because if you don't want to build bridges,
right?
You want to build the absolute minimal amount of bridges to get over the river, and then don't build any more, because a bridge takes up space where a house could be.
Yeah.
So that cuts down your population.
I think I was like one health bar away from being full, right?
Yeah.
And that was probably that reason, because I was like, oh, more bridges are better. And then hindsight 2020, whoops.
It's a trap for the engineers of the world.
It is.
Well, it's like, I don't know if it's a statement on like, fuck the rich, but mansions don't give you a whole lot of population. Like, so I was finding like whenever a mansion would pop up, I'd fry it. I said, bring out the lightning bolt. It's like, fuck you, Richie. I need more population
playing
here.
A benevolent god, in a sense.
Everyone is equal.
You're like, you know what? Peace. See, I didn't care. I literally was like, okay, let me get through this, rush through the act, and get to the next world. Or next part of the country.
Well, I think you were hamstrung by your shitty ROM too.
Oh.
So you were under the gun more than we were, where we had way more time. I had half the time because I made it halfway through this game, and my little gremlin child decided to kick the Nintendo and it froze it, and it wiped my save file like it did back in Final Fantasy III when I was 10. So I distinctly remember being halfway through the world of ruin in Final Fantasy III and just jumping down onto my beanbag, and my Nintendo just shut off. And I was like, oh, that's weird. And I went over and I reset it, and all of the save files were gone, and I cried and ran downstairs.
Dude, almost the same thing happened to me like 2 years ago. I mean, complete with crying. Like when I bought Final Fantasy III, my thing got jiggled. I didn't make it as far as you did, but I reached, because you always complained. You were always like, oh, you didn't beat Final Fantasy III without using save states and like fast forward button. Like, fine, I'll buy the game and beat it legit. I got all the way to the world hadn't ended. But for some reason I was like trying to get something around my Nintendo, and like it jiggled it, and same thing, wiped the save. So I had to start all over and play the whole way through, just so I didn't have to listen to you judge me for not beating it your way.
It's gut wrenching to have that happen, man. You just lose progress. Just done. Start over. We are dedicated people to keep at it when presented with these obstacles,
Nick, so you had fun. You had a fun experience too, I take it.
Yeah. So the ROM I had was a translation, which was fun and everything. But what would happen would be it would just completely freeze, and not actually completely freeze. It would freeze, like I couldn't move, but I still hear the music was still playing just fine. You still see people moving, but I couldn't like move my character. I'm like, oh, well, maybe it's just, literally the controller. Plug in the controller, replug it in. Nope, not the controller. And because the controller would still let me to access other menus, the actual Pi itself, and restart everything. I'm like, okay, so the controller is working. It's just this part function is stopped. And I did it like 3 times before I tried another ROM. And at that point, I knew everything from Fillmore, so I cruised through Fillmore really quickly. Then I got through Blood. I did it again in Blood, and then I was able to cruise through Blood. Cool. And after I finished Blood Pool, I got into the desert world, and my dog got spooked, excited. I have no fucking idea. Ran across, snagged onto my controller wire, and ripped my Pi right out of everything in this one. I'm like, oh, that's great. I forgot to save state. And my latest save file was all the way back at the beginning of Blood Pool. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck this shit. I'm calling it. So I got to, I think, Cassandra? Whatever.
Cassandra. Yeah. Yep. That level was alright. I think my favorite was Blood Pool.
I like the mini boss at the start of Cassandra.
Which one was that?
Centipede, I think it is. It's like a centipede that comes out of the sand.
Oh, yeah. You know what that reminded me of? You guys ever play like all the Super Star Wars games?
Sarlacc? Oh, that thing, yep.
I kind of got that vibe from it.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, that was a neat little boss. And the level was pretty neat too. It was fun. Though it was weird seeing those one villain that was like a man's body with fly wings and like a scorpion like bottom.
Those guys were dicks, man. They were just randomly zigzagging.
They're annoying as hell, but it's just like weird. It was just a weird. Like I would like to see what the actual character art is for those versus what the sprite is, because it looked like someone just like chopped off and there's a spinal cord just dangling there.
Please tell me you'd cast Jeff Goldblum as that character.
we got to do another Nick Cast movie.
Oh man,
because that was
top notch.
I still listen to that every now and then. It's just like you got Adam Sandler cast as a. No, that one's good too. Well, you're the god of depression.
The god of depression.
It's funny. I'm working on a website for us because we're gonna need one eventually, and I thought about that. I'm like, I need to put that, like under our bios or something. Like Nick is the god of depression.
We do have another god game in front of us right now. I don't know what changes would be made or like what type of god we would be. Matt sounds like an asshole god. Doesn't want anybody to have classes.
Oh, he'd be Loki.
The egalitarian god. Everyone is in there. No mansions. No, I don't know. I needed population, and I didn't want bridges, and I didn't want mansions. So I'm sorry, people. I'm using you to get stronger to fight the bad guys. So
yeah.
you need to live in your hovel.
I quaked everybody. I'd give them the wheat instead of the first crop.
I accidentally did that.
It takes a lot of magic points to friggin' cause an earthquake.
60, I think, right?
160.
No, it's just 60.
Oh, it is? Okay.
It's 60, and
you didn't get to do it until like the third level, I think, right?
I did it on the second level, and I did it like, okay, I have everything built, and I was trying to figure out how to get to the other thing, and I didn't realize I had to save the kid to get a special item to destroy the monster layer by myself. So I'm like, maybe I need to like carve out something, or maybe I can level this mountain with the earthquake. Press it, I'm like, nothing happened. Go back to where all the people's homes were, and there was nothing but little rubble. I'm like, well, fuck, that sucked. So I spent the next like half an hour trying to get them to rebuild everything.
I could see you like big dick energying all your followers. Like you walk in and you help them build their civilization back up partly, and then you just friggin' level it, and it's like, look what I can do to you.
I was telling you guys,
don't piss me off.
I told you about what I used to do with the Sim City. I'd build up the biggest city I could. Have it. I think at the point, because it's like in Sim City, which we're going to be playing, by the way. We're going to be playing that. Get it to like Metro...
SimCity or SimCity 2000?
SimCity. The SNES version.
SimCity 3000.
I like the one where the engineer, where I always cut the guy's funding and he goes, don't cut funding for the roads! Like, I always think of John at that part.
I'm going to do the one where like you can send Bowser to destroy things. That's what I would do is my mom used to get pissed at me because I'd take her save file and I'd go through and I'd cause... Tornado, Bowser, I'd pretty much layer up the friggin' all the atrocities and, all these big things happen. And she come back, because I'd save it to a pretty much burnt out city, destroyed. And she had like a
You're evil.
Oh yeah, it was fun.
You literally 2020'd her. Like all the problems of 2020 is what you've done.
But
this is you running the show.
You had some foresight.
I would have hit it. And that was back when there was no social media.
Just leveling it.
No social media, and there's no binge watching TV.
You had to occupy your time somehow.
Yeah.
Matt, what was your favorite level?
I don't know. I liked... So in the God Sim, for some reason, I liked the island level. Marana, something like that. I thought that was cool, just because that bird symbol...
Right? You didn't know what it meant yet. You knew, but you didn't know. Well,
it was in Illusion of Gaia.
Oh, that's right.
And it's weird because all these quintet games have this like weird connection where, and the same symbol was in Cassandra too, or Cassandra, whatever the hell the name is, off in the ground. But Illusion of Gaia has that symbol in it too. And it's weird, like, it's like ActRaiser, I think they're all connected. Because I think like ActRaiser, the master or god or whatever, is like reviving the civilization. And then in Soul Blazer, I think he's following the master. I think he's referred to the master. Like you're in this world.
What's Wikipedia?
I think all 5 games are somewhat set in the same universe. So when I saw that bird symbol, because I played Illusion of Gaia before I played this one, I'm like, oh man, that's so cool! Like there's a connection. I don't know what it is, but I like it.
Just the bird symbol. That's their Easter egg in each game.
I can't remember because I haven't played Terra Enigma in forever, but I can't remember if that's in Terra Enigma. I've never played Soul Blazer.
Me neither.
I've never played it, so that'd be a good one to add to the list.
Yeah. I like Blood Pool the best because you get to do a little random side quest, and you gotta like there's that hidden dragon layer that you gotta drop the thing on. I don't know. It was fun. You get to build bridges for the first time, I think, right? Or you give them the technology. I don't know. It was bigger. It was a bigger province, which, by the way, provinces in this game, there's like 6 of them. So this is Canada. My opinion is solidified.
Oh, God. The one that was like Itos or something like that. That one just was so short. I don't have really anything to comment about that one.
That was where you first see one of the spinning head guys that just like zaps all of your life because they can throw themselves all the way across the screen.
Yeah, they're nasty.
Those guys were annoying.
And they all do different things to your population too. Like bats steal your followers. Like they'll fly off with 4 of them.
John,
yeah.
Matt, sorry to interrupt.
What's that?
So I'm going to solidify you, Matt. Yeah. So ActRaiser 2 is in connection with Soul Blazer, Illusion of Gaia, and Terra Enigma. They're spin-offs.
I'll take it. I'll take my victories when I get them.
Boom.
I'm trying to think what else. Oh, there was okay. So you had the demons. The demons go and they like fry crops.
Yep.
And then the skulls cause earthquakes. I think those are the only bosses that are the only bad guys that you fought in sim mode.
Yeah, they're like the red dragon and the ice dragon. They definitely just fried houses or crops.
There's a red dragon.
Yeah, it was. They didn't do much.
I think it's a demon.
There's a demon.
Okay.
And that thing was just annoying. It would just like, it would just run the crops dry. So it kept on. There's at one point where I think it's not Blood Pool, but in Cassandra, where at one point the timing was where both demons, I was trying to fight them off, and one was just destroying crops as I was trying to get the other one. I had to keep on going back and forth. It got really annoying.
I use that bow. You get the bow drop, and you can one shot everything. That was pretty handy in the later levels where you had the skulls and the demons.
Do you remember the special items in this? I never used a single. I used only the offerings that they gave me that I needed to use to advance the game. I never used any of the others. Like, what did they do?
I think you got spells through this. There were like the magic scrolls, so you could actually use a spell. There was a lot of those. They had the magic bow, and the 1-ups. So there was, a decent amount of variety in what they gave you. But like the bomb and the arrows were kind of useless. You could get by without the bomb, which just wiped out all the flying guys. But then there's 400 more in each layer, so it didn't matter.
I like that God is going to go fight evil with bombs. like God is like some 1920s like anarchist that's just like going to go bomb down stuff with like a curly mustache or something like that.
You know what?
I
have a theory now.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Uh-oh.
Oh, God.
This was the game that was developed by a Ancient Aliens theorist.
Okay, you need to elaborate on that.
What?
I'm too drunk probably to elaborate, but let's see if I can go for it.
Yeah.
And the only reason I thought that was just because he said bombs. I'm like, and last night I fell asleep to Ancient Aliens in a row, and the guy was explaining like, well, maybe the Thunderbolts were actually rockets being sent down from actual spaceships. And then I'm looking at right now. I'm actually looking at the cover art or the box art, and you have over ActRaiser. You have a little circle disc, and you have bolts coming down from it, and you see pyramids. So, yeah, that's a kooky thought out there. Come, bring on Scientology for me.
That plot is so much. I can connect Ancient Aliens to ActRaiser a lot more closely than I can connect like Captain Planet to ActRaiser.
Yeah.
Like that one, this is a mix of Captain Planet and Power Rangers. Like what?
Just wanted to throw that in there. Give you some.
God comes down in a fucking Megazord, and it's just like leveling Satan. Go Holy Rangers!
Using film from another game, like Power Rangers did. They ripped off like all of the action sequences from a Japanese show, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, and they filmed like all the American kids like hanging out at the local. It was like
the Juice Shack, right?
Juice Shack, because we have a bunch of adult writers and they want to send them to a bar, but they can't get away with it.
Nope.
So
Juice Shack.
Yep.
All right. So, what was your favorite mini boss that you fought?
I don't know. The bosses to me, again, they weren't all that special.
Yeah.
It was like either be very strategic in what you do with them, or just trade punches. The one, and I can't remember where I fought them, but the one where you have to like ride platforms up and get a bunch of shots in and then fall down and not get hit by the platforms.
That's Cassandra. That's no, that's Marana. That's the genie.
Oh, yeah. That one was kind of cool. That one took me a couple tries.
Yeah.
I was pretty happy.
He was tough too, because he would drop down and you could smack him, but then he would just lunge at you and hit you. So you lost some life with him as well. You kind of had to trade blows unless you were really smart.
Yeah, that one, because a lot of them I found I could just trade blows and I'd be okay. But that one I had to be a little smarter with.
Yeah. I like that Itos one, the serpent that flew through, because that was one of the only times that you got the little wave that shot out of your sword that I thought was really cool, but it was not very common in the game. But like he could knock you off a platform, so I died a couple times fighting him just because he fell. Falling sucked, man. Like you're done. You just fell and that was it. Like the friggin' manticore that jumped up platforms in Bloodpool. And like he would jump across and you try to smack him when he was in the air and they just knock you down right in the middle.
And that hole wasn't that big. Like it was just a perfect swoosh every time. That guy.
Nothing but net,
you were
baby.
Done.
Toast. The suckiest boss for me was that pinwheel on Itos. He was a bitch.
Apparently that one's easy to beat if you use the Stardust. But I never knew to use the Stardust because I never used items. But apparently that one's easy. So we suck.
We do suck, yeah.
Hey, I didn't even make it that far, so.
It happens.
I like that you're joining the ranks of not beating the games now.
Oh,
yeah.
I hate it. I really do. I think one of the things that kind of sucks is I'm such a fan of playing it via like a mobile console. or something I can easily just pick up and play. So I think that's why I have now such a kinship to my, Switch Lite or even my 3DS. It's just, or even my phone playing one of our games. It's just because it's just so quick and easy. I could wake up in the middle of the night and just pop up, bring one of the devices over and just play like in half an hour or something. Versus with the console games, I love playing with it, but it's trying to carve out proper time to play it and give it the attention it needs.
I'm surprised you haven't picked more Game Boy games.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you haven't gone handheld crazy on us.
Well, I don't have any Game Boy games anymore.
All in all, guys, wrapping this game up, none of us beat it.
Well, none of us beat it legitimately.
Yeah. Legitimately, I was about to say that. I was trying to come up with a sarcastic word. So I love this game. It was a lot of fun. I love playing it on the SNES. Using that controller. That's the one that I use the most. That's the console that I have the most time with. So it was good to play a game that was on that one. Controller? Beautiful. It was way better. I tried playing it on my BitBoy, and it wasn't as good. So, yeah. Matt, I don't know what you did for your... Yeah. Matt, you must have played a little bit of both, right?
Yeah, so I have it. I bought it, and I made it when I was playing on actual hardware. I made it right out. I made it through Northwall, but I never actually made it to the last boss. Like I was in Northwall when I stopped. So when we played it this time, I wanted to take like screenshots for the album art for the podcast, art that I do.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll just do it on a computer. I'll just do that, and if I need to save state it, so be it. Whatever, I'll get through it. Yeah. So yeah, I was using my 360 controller, and yeah, the Super Nintendo's controller is way better.
Yeah.
The D-pad is just...
It's so good. Yeah, man, I love the SNES D-pad, and I mean, I have enough popcorn grease in my controller that it's still smooth after 20 years,
Sticks to your thumb. Your thumb doesn't slip off.
I guess I never cleaned. I haven't taken apart my controllers or my SNES to clean them ever, and it's been all right unless you kick it and it dies.
I'm telling you, take a DiGiorno pizza box and just stuff some cardboard behind the cartridge.
I'm gonna try that.
It's the getaway of keeping your thing from resetting.
Oh man, that concludes it for me. You guys?
It was solid. Wish I got some more time on it. Really do. I think. Well, I think if this was like a virtual console, I probably would definitely pick it up on a virtual console versus playing it the way I did. Just make it more handheld, make it there. So, like I said, my time with this game was probably nowhere near what you guys put in. I maybe at most put 3-4 hours in, but it was in between that 3 and 4 hours was restarting. So
you got real good at Fillmore.
Fillmore's great.
Yeah.
Freaking, I have Metropolis about Fillmore.
Yeah.
So I mean, I liked it. I mean, playing Fillmore even. The good thing with playing even that over and over, it didn't actually get boring at all. It was like, let me try doing it this way. And I wish I had more time to actually truly play with it and actually put the time in that needed.
Yeah. The thing that I have in my notes about this game was I can't not think that this game is better than the sum of its parts. So like if you looked at just the platforming sections by themselves, no sim, there's nothing really all that special about them. I mean, that you can't get in some other game around this time.
Right.
Like it's standard platforming. There's nothing crazy going on. And then the sim really is not all that complicated. If it was the whole game that was the sim itself, it really wouldn't be all that stellar. But there's something for me about them mixing these two genres together it's so weird that I have fun playing this game. Even when the parts themselves aren't all that amazing, the fact that they're together makes the game so much more fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I could go back and replay this whole game, and it'd still be good.
It's just so many things came together well on it. Like the music is good. I love the visuals of it. I just think the concept is so neat. That's my problem. I've played a little bit of ActRaiser 2, and I know it's been kind of like a memeable thing on the internet. Like everyone just rags on ActRaiser 2, and I think I'm going to jump on that train. But them taking out the sim took out what made the game so unique. So it's just another platformer, and it's kind of meh. No one thinks about it. It's just kind of who cares? This game sticks with people, but I think because it is so weird. It's just I reward uniqueness, I guess is the way to phrase it.
Yeah. You know me, I like the obscure games, diamonds in the rough, and my last pick wasn't. So I'm glad that I hit one. Yeah. No, I'm hoping that I can dig into more games like this. What was that called on PC? Black and White? Something like that. I kind of like that concept. So I'm gonna introduce some more strategy sim games, I think, in our library.
Yeah. I would say if I'm reading you guys right, this one will go on our recommend list.
Yeah,
I think so.
I recommend this definitely.
All right. Add that on.
So that concludes this episode of Spin Dash, right?
Well, we gotta plug our socials and stuff.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah. So yeah, guys. Thanks for listening. You guys can find us on Twitter, on Instagram at spin-retro.com. Man, I fucked that up. I'm going to have to edit that whole thing out because I'm just incoherent rambling that truly got to me.
No, keep it on.
Find us on,
keep it in.
Keep it on. You find us at spin-retro, Instagram, Twitter. Working on a website at spin-retro.com. Looking to grow the podcast. It's fun. I hear all these podcasts out there saying I'm looking to grow the podcast, and it's like, well, okay, you're going to grow the podcast. What does that actually mean? I really just like more people to listen, and I like people to interact with us. I want to talk to people about games. That's when we started this podcast back in 2018 before the 2019 year went and just like blew up our lives. Like, I was getting back into buying games. I think you guys are buying games as well. And we kind of just reached the conclusion. It's just like, it's fun to talk about games, and I'd like to see this as something going down the road that, other people who feel the same way about these games that we do, we can have conversations about them. So please feel free to reach out to us.
And leave your recommendations for weird ass drinks that we can make Nick consume.
Ooh.
I was also told, and they probably won't hear this. Oh, when will this episode probably air, Matt?
This is the last episode before Christmas. So Merry Christmas, everyone. Jingle bells.
So
Happy New
after
Year.
this would have been your birthday, which I have been told by my significant other I will be shotgunning a Foster's for you.
Oh, we should do an episode where we all shotgun Fosters, Nick.
Well, I'm apparently doing one that month on my also daughter and son's celebrated birthday as well.
So every birthday you're just getting just pounding beer until you puke?
Nicole, my wife, has okayed it, apparently.
I mean, you still haven't shotgunned a full Foster's, so this will be entertaining.
Yeah, happy birthday.
You have multiple chances to try.
He's
and
I 0 for 4.
I like that Nicole
the last one wasn't too bad,
you're
though.
going to do this.
No, wait. Last one was horrible. I did one where I downed most of it, but I ended up puking it up a couple seconds after.
I think that's when we played disc golf 6 years ago.
That was pretty solid.
So Nick, I like that Nicole is telling you that you are going to do this. Like that brings me joy.
Yep.
I didn't even suggest it to her. Like sometimes I'll text Nick's wife and
you have a more conversation with my wife texting than you do with me.
Well, it's about parties or events because she's the planner and you're the whimsical free spirit.
I just like so Nick. I was thinking about this the other day or a while back when I was editing. There's one podcast where you end it and your sign off is like, all right, guys, I'm going to go bang my wife. and I thought about that. I'm like, wow, someone's going to listen to this and think like Nick's like, she's like sleeping and Nick climbs in there. It's like, time to wake up. We're doing this. No, I guarantee you she was waiting at the door going, you're going to finish this fucking podcast because I'm not waiting all night, Nick. Get going. You know. We know she wears the pants. I'm in the same boat here, so I can't say a whole lot.
Yep. I think that goes for the three of us. It's general consensus.
So signing off, follow us. We're going to all go bang our wives now.
Huzzah!
End the record?
Sure.